This video is mainly intended for my grandsons, and hopefully this can help them out. Today I'm going to show you how to check fuses. Usually the fuse panel is located down on the driver's side of the vehicle at the driver's left foot, either in the side kick panel or up in the dash. There's usually a second panel out underneath the hood near the battery under a black plastic cover. This one is one that's usually missed. If you're having problems locating the fuse panels, take a look at your owner's manual. Now, what you're looking for is, depending on what function is out, you want to know if the fuse is out or if you want to check all these fuses. There are several ways to go about this. One way is to find the fuse puller that's usually in a corner of the fuse panel, and these fuse pullers go down on the fuse, it locks in, and you're able to remove the fuse, remove it from the fuse puller, and check it. Now, what we're looking for is the continuation of the lead on the left side, which comes up and has a little notch on the top, the lead on the right side that comes up and also has a little notch on the side, and the connection between the two of these. Now, the reason for the colors is the reason for their value. Yellow is a 20 amp fuse. If this blows, you don't want to go bigger, you don't want to go smaller, you want to replace it with a 20 and find the problem. Purple is a 3 amp. Green is a 30. They're marked on the top as to their value, and the colors all come back to their value. So it's good to replace these fuses with a same color fuse. Now, like I said, you can take these out, physically look at these to make sure that they're good. Or, we went down to the store and the local hardware store and picked this meter up. It was only a few dollars. It's on sale this week. And we're going to take our leads and check the fuses in another way as well to be sure that they are good or bad. So we're going to start with, this is a 7-function digital multimeter, and we're going to start with the ohms function, which is the omega signal for the Greek letter. We're going to go to the lowest function, which is 200, and we're going to turn the meter on. Now, the meter is automatically going to come up to a 1, which is pretty much saying there is no answer. So we're going to take our black lead. It goes into the COM, or common, for the ground. We always have to have a negative lead when reading anything or something plugged into this slot. Next, we're going to be in this process of testing the fuses. We're going to be in the ohms and volt function for DC. So we're going to choose the middle slot here and plug this in. Now, what this meter is telling us is the amount of resistance between the 2 points on these leads. Now, right now it's saying 1, which is infinity for this meter's reading, which means the amount of resistance between these two leads is infinity. The air does not conduct, is what it's saying. However, if I touch these leads together, we should get something quite a bit lower. Should get something around 0. Now, we should be getting something closer to 0. You can see it's moving around a little bit. But it is reading that there is somewhat resistance between the leads and the wires, and the connection is going back into the meter. Now, you can remove the fuses and read the continuity between one leg and the other, and we should have something, again, close to 0, or something that comes down. There we go. This means this is a good fuse because there is no infinite resistance from one leg to the other. We'll read another fuse here, see what we get. And that one reads low 2. We will try this one here, see what we read. This one reads. So this one, even with the visual inspection, you can tell is burnt. Now, in many cases, this is a way to test each fuse, but there's another way as well. We're going to take our leads and we're going to test in volts DC function, but in order to do that, we have to have a good ground in the vehicle. And what you do to find that in the ohms function is you find something metal in the vehicle and you attach to it. Now, because I don't have the whole vehicle here in front of me, I'm going to have to use the same piece of equipment to touch the case, but you want to touch somewhere else in the vehicle to make sure you have continuity between these 2 points. This will tell you if you have a real good ground or not. So if I touch this case, which is another spot in the car, this tells me I have a good ground. Or either one of those spots is a good ground because I have continuity to it. Now I'm going to cheat here. I've added an alligator clip to this ground, and I'm going to attach my negative lead to it. This will just allow me to use free up one of my arms here, or hands here, so I can go on with the testing. Now we know we have a good ground. We're in the ohms function. We're going to change up to the volts or DC volts function, we want to be in the 20 position because the car is at 12 volts. Of course, if you're in a bigger truck that has 24 volts, you want to go to the 200 range. But what we have here is I've hooked up some power to this fuse. And the fuses, like I said, usually when you find the fuse panel, you're going to find all the fuses all in a row, and usually several rows of these fuses. But now that we have a good ground, we're going to come in and we're going to test the fuses. We're going to test this fuse on one side of the tab. We see we have 12 volts. On the opposite side, we see we have nothing. Now, this probably means we have a bad fuse here, because one side we have it, one we don't. The fuse must be blown, so we're going to pull this fuse out, take a visual inspection of it, and yes, indeed, there is an opening in that trace in the center of the fuse. So the first thing we're going to do is turn around and take another fuse of the same color, same value, and plug it into back into the fuse panel. Now, either right away, if you've got a short or something there, you're going to hear that fuse snap or pop right away. Many cases I've seen barrettes, pennies, paper clips, and cigarette lighters, and so on. But now we've replaced this with a good fuse, and we're going to test this side again. We have 12 volts. We test the other side. We have 12 volts, which means we've just taken care of a blown fuse. Now you want to check all these fuses. If you're going up through the panel and you find one side that you have no 12 volts on, thinking you got a blown fuse, and test the other side and still have no 12 volts, that means whatever the function this fuse is meant for, it's not turned on in the car for this fuse to get its power to go out and power up the function. Could be radio, could be cigarette lighter, could be dome lights, could be horn, could be you see those stack of fuses when you get there. So if you have questions about repair on this, guys, give me a call. I'll help you through it. Hope this video has been helpful. Please subscribe, and thank you for watching.